Hello, everybody, and welcome to this edition of LLG's Random But Real, where we have conversations about any and all things random with the entree, not a side dish of mental health advocacy. I use my performance arts, communication, and literary arts skills to bring awareness about mental health and other topics. Therefore, whether I'm singing, speaking, or whatever I'm doing, writing, I try my best to make sure that my words are melodic, just like music to your ears. And as you can see, the statements of myself, the host, guest host, are our own opinions. We're not operating as counselors or therapists on this show or during this recording. So if you need professional help or therapy, please, we'll be willing to share information that we may have or referral, or you can always check with your doctor or whatever you have to do to make sure that you're getting the help that you need. That is what's important. So I'm excited today, always when I get to see my girls, but for different reasons today. So I think I'm gonna say before I bring y'all in, I was on Noom, which is a psychological way of losing weight. Did I lose weight? Sometimes. Did I not? Sometimes. That was on me. Really good information, though. I would suggest it to anybody. And when I was doing Noom, I found that I don't know why. Okay, there is a little bit larger because it was so small, so tiny on my screen. I They often have these different things, and because I was a counselor, um, a lot of the things that they said resonated with me. So I was able to take like the things they said to help me lose weight also in my life. And one topic, because we pre-record this. If you didn't know, we pre-record this. We were talking, and by the time this airs, it'll be 2025, but this was in 2024. And this topic of dialectics came up. And I was just like, that's interesting. And basically, what it was saying, and I'm just going to read this again, I contribute or attribute this to Noom. Um, Ask yourself, what is true about what I'm feeling, or why does this feeling make sense? um, what is true about the other side, or what am I leaving out? And replace that word but with and practice working out our feelings on both ends. And we'll probably go through that again. But it just had me thinking about how dialectics really can affect our relationships. And so I have on here, I'm gonna go backwards, one of my friends from high school. We had the pleasure of writing a book, 21 Days, and her name is Tracy and Worley. Say hello to everybody, Tracy.
Hello, hello, hello.
And so I have her on. I was like, this might be a really good topic for us to talk about. And then I have my awesome guest co-host for the season, Erica Wingate. Say hello to everybody, Erica.
Hello, everybody.
And so I thought that this would be a very lively conversation. So I wanted to just kind of start, did you, because I never really heard the term dialectics before I um, came across this with New. How about you all?
I Googled it when you said, with that.
Good job.
Same thing.
Me too.
Same thing. When you said
Okay,
it together,
it's not just me. It's not just me. Y'all, my lipstick is getting on my nerves. So y'all know I'm really random but real. That's what I get for putting on a different shade on top of what I already had. So anyway, I digress. So what did you think when you heard the term and Google it and found out what it was? Either one. Somebody go.
I understood it in the sense that sometimes I do feel like I feel one way, but I feel another way, and I'm not really sure why. Like, I didn't think I was a wishy-washy kind of person in general, but I can see the understanding of it. How, oh yeah, that's what it is. I'm just a dialectic.
Okay. What about you, Tracy?
Well, ambivalent is the word that came to mind for me. It's kind of like love, hate. like when I initially looked at it. That's what I thought about. Some of those things that we, you know, you love it, yet because of maybe the outcome, you, you don't kind of love it. So that ambivalence is what came up for me.
Okay. Um, for me, I started thinking, and I wrote this down. I was like, maybe he loves me and doesn't love me. Because I know that in relationships, especially with some of the ships that I've been, you know, it's like, how could they do this but say that they love me? It wasn't adding up. Maybe it wasn't a but, maybe it was an and. And so it really made me think about not just my significant other relationships, but also my friendships
Mm-hmm.
and my family relationships, not just one type of ship. You know what I mean? Um, Even those people that have been in situationships, I'm those people. I'll admit it. I've been in one, or maybe more than one. But that's beside the point. And why am I in this ship? Maybe it's not I'm this, but maybe it was an and. Like, um, I'm lonely or I feel alone, and I know I need to leave this alone. Not even a but, because what does but do? You know what
Cancels
I'm saying?
everything
Huh?
before.
Say
Cancels
that.
everything before.
And so, but does it?
Grammatically speaking.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And then and is the conjunction, right? It brings it together. It's really, I think the and forces, and when we think about a dialectic relationship, it forces us to be honest about whatever it is that we're at. And so Tracy and I talked about different things in the book. I wish I knew about this when we wrote the book, Tracy. That would have been great. But I didn't know. And I don't think I ever talked about it even as in my years as a counselor. But think about that. Think about a situation, and then I'm feeling, or well, ask yourself what is true about what I'm feeling, and why does this feeling make sense? But the second one, what is true about the other side, and what am I leaving out? I check myself. I know that a lot of people don't, though. I've talked to a lot of people who only focus on their reason for why they feel the way they feel, but not even think about why the other person. I've talked about it on here, but the situation with my cousin, who isn't speaking to me, maybe by the time this airs, she will be. Um, I understood why she might feel why she felt, but I don't think she understood why I felt the way that I felt, and that it was a bigger picture for me, because it wasn't just her child that did this or caused the pain, but several people in my same family that he was also a part of that caused this pain. So it was always a bigger picture for me. So it's not I'm telling you this, you know, but I want you to be quiet. Or basically was I'm telling you this and I want you to be quiet. And so feelings were definitely valid. Have your feelings. Feel how you feel. But and is making me uh, really question myself even more now. But Erica, you said that you found something in like your reading. Can you share that with us, please?
Yeah, so looking up the definition, and
Mm-hmm.
I came across an article under NULAB, NULAB, and the title of the article is Managing Conflicting Desires with Relational Dialectics Theory, by Georgina Guthrie. She's the author of the article. And basically, it said, where was it? I had it highlighted for you. It said that it talks about tensions, right? And it says that, for example, we may desire both intimacy and independence in our romantic relationships, or both certainty and uncertainty in our friendships. These tensions can be both internal and external, and they can change over time as the relationships evolve. Then it goes on to say that relational dialectics theory has grown over time, moving from personal context to wider communication processes such as conflict management, decision making, and identity formation. And one major breakthrough is the thought that dialectical tensions can actually be a source of creativity and vitality. meaning they don't all need to be solved, but something that, can be talked about. It just
Hmm.
it just jumped out to me, like, how can you have this or that, this or that? You could get with this or that. I'm going back to my
I got
college
it.
days. Sorry.
We not that much younger than you. We got
I know.
it.
But it was very interesting, and like I said already, I had not heard of it until you pointed it out, and I looked it up, and I was just like, that's very interesting. And then it just goes on to, because again, when you study psychology and counseling and all that, you come across all the theories, you learn about autonomy, and independence, and all of those theories, and so this kind of weaves in with that, in those kinds of thoughts and theories, the way they look at it in not just romantic relationships, as said, but friendships, the workplace. So it's very interesting.
Mhm. One of the things, this is on, I believe, YouTube. Somebody posted dialectics in relationships, dialectic tensions, openness and closedness, autonomy and connectedness, novelty and predictability.
Yep.
And when I think about just in relationships in general, um, we, I think everybody experienced some form of dialectics, like hearing it, this way. Um, Especially when it comes to that question, because I've asked that question, how could they do that to me? And they say they love me. You know, why can't the both be true? Why can't they love me but also just be jacked up because they didn't have, good home training, or they weren't raised to really know how to love an individual, so
Mhm.
they're forced to try to figure that stuff out themselves. For me, it causes me to be a little bit even more empathetic. I definitely believe I am an empathetic person, but it's causing me to be even more empathetic because if that is the case and they don't know how to and they're used to budding, then what I'm saying, how are we going to actually come together? What are your thoughts? Tracy, what is that?
This is
It
deep.
was a big sigh.
Like,
I don't know.
this is deep. This is way deep. Like, I feel like I'm in psychology class.
You do have two counselors on here.
Yeah.
Well, I'm former. She's still doing it, but
Mm,
she's like, excuse
yeah,
the sigh. Y'all,
Lord.
y'all know this is random but real. So whatever comes
Yeah,
out, just what it comes out. So Tracy says it's deep. So
yeah,
yeah, tell us about
this is yeah. This is like theory class, but I have found myself, of course, as an overthinker. I have found myself trying to understand, um, how did this happen? How did I end up in this situation? And like you said, not only relationships, romantic relationships, but even friendships. I mean, we had a conversation just the other day, and I said, "Hey, let me run something past you,"
Mhm.
because Lisa's into the restorative approach. So I somebody shared something with me, and I think this would be a good example. But someone shared something with me. We were going to go out to this restaurant, and I was saying, "Oh gosh, I went. I had a great time with my sorority sisters, and I think we should go. You will love it." And then the person that my girlfriend was talking to was like, "Oh yeah, I would like to go." And then all of a sudden, like a few months later, now it's like, I'm not interested in that. I'm not interested in anything like that at all. And I'm like, wait a minute. You were interested before, but now you're not interested. And I was like, it's me. So I, but I,
Mhm.
I was struggling a bit because I was trying to figure out, well, what is it about me that has made this person feel like they don't want to go? I think I'm fun most of the time. I think I'm pretty fun. I'm pretty nice. Um, but I said it's that, and that's when we get into that and piece. Like, yeah, it could be that there is some hang up or something that maybe she just doesn't want to come anymore, but it doesn't have to be that you throw the baby out with the bathwater. Oh, well, the friendship is over, there's nothing else left to salvage. But I'll just leave it, and I like to at this point leave things, um, you know, wherever she feels comfortable, that's fine. I've not lost a bit of sleep, and I don't say that in a negative way. That I don't care. I do care. It bothered me. It bothered me enough to say something,
Mhm.
about it. Um, because it's never my intent to, just not in my makeup, don't want to hurt anybody, but I'm always trying to make sure, I like kumbaya and everybody getting along, and let's just all go and have a good time. And reality is that's not going to always happen. So I think that's where I would add an and to this, because yes, it appears that she feels this way, but it may not be such an absolute that, oh, I don't like her and I just don't want to be around her. There's could be an and to that,
Mhm.
or but there's something else going on there. So
Yeah. Well, according to Dialectics, if we try to think just for this podcast, but should not even be in our language.
Mm-hmm.
It's only the
mhm.
and, because what is the other person thinking? The only way we'll really know is if we have a conversation
Yes,
with them.
yeah,
And I
and
already know. I
I,
said, go on, Erica.
So I was just gonna say, so looking up some more things about it,
Mhm.
uh,
I found some examples, right? So for the people who aren't quite getting it, right, here's some examples.
Mhm.
I'm doing the best I can, and I can do better.
Mhm.
I want to live, and I want to die,
Mhm.
right?
There.
mhm,
I want to quit drinking, and I want to drink.
Mhm.
I love my partner, and I hate my partner's tone of voice when they are angry.
Mhm.
So it's all those types of thoughts, right? That they both go together at the same time.
Mhm.
Um, those are just some examples of the way
yeah.
you can think dialectically or be in a circumstance or a situation.
That's,
Absolutely. Those are good. Do y'all
Yeah.
have a thinking about that? Do you have a personal one? Not super deep. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, if you want to, we can go there, but I'm just saying that you would share with the people, because it's random but real, but we're trying to like connect with them too. Somebody's gonna watch. Maybe I don't know, 2,000. We don't know how many numbers we gonna get.
If I'm being real with myself, my marriage is an example, right? Like from the outside looking in, I would look at someone else and be like, why are you dealing with certain things? But then I'm on the inside and I'm dealing with certain things. It's that type of thing as I'm understanding it. I didn't see it that way before coming across this phrase, but as I'm looking at some examples, as I'm hearing it and thinking, I would say that my current relationship is very dialectical.
That's deep.
Mm-hmm.
I would just leave it at that. But I'm proud of you though for even being willing.
the dog
I,
said so
I
too.
I love my grandpa, but I'm mad at my
And
grandpa.
you're mad at your grandpa. Absolutely.
Oh,
That's
grandpa.
my grandpa.
Oh my gosh. Hey, stuff happens when we're on
It's real.
LLG
That
family.
sounds like a big pup.
To some people, he seems big. He's grown on me, but he is literally my grandpa, and he literally just came to be with me,
I
like
hear him.
literally.
I heard defeat. Wow. I think I think that's a really big one, because I know while attempting, not having nearly the tools that I have now, and attempting to navigate a relationship that was rocky from the start, um, I could find myself saying that I really love and care for this person, and at the same time, while I love and care for this person who is just mean for no reason at all, I found myself saying, but I don't like, I don't like the behavior. I don't like the yelling. I don't like the hanging up and the, just being mean and rash for what I felt like was no reason at all. So I think that's a kind of a way of looking at it as well. And it's like I'm trying to pour everything that I have into this person. And I thought the kinder that I was, the more patient that I was, that would matter, and that would help, and then that's gonna fix it, and it's gonna be great. And it wasn't. It wasn't. Um, but that was an example, because I kept trying, and I just kept trying, because I really believe that, um, you know, there's some good in everybody. So I was really trying to make it. I was trying to fix it, um, by seeing that other side. It has some. We have some. We have a rough patch here, um, but I also see, you know, the good parts, or the potential for the good parts that could be.
Mhm. I think sometimes we can see that, and we also have to
And I stayed
not
too
dwell
long.
in it, not be in it,
I
but
stayed too
see it
long.
from, yeah, from a distance. I got it now.
Yeah.
Tracy told me the other day. I love our conversations. Like I really, really, I love both of y'all. I really do. Um, y'all might be. I mean, I have a few other people who might really, really hang in there with me, but so far, y'all, they haven't tried to get rid of me. So I appreciate that. They seem to be in there for the long haul. And they'll both be like, "You okay?" Because they know I'll tell them like when I had my moments or whatever, and you know, I feel like I'd be completely honest with them. But let me tell you, they completely honest with me too. And so Tracy, in her nice way the other day, was just like, Lisa, you could be really harsh. I was like, "Yep, you're right. I can." And I
Yeah, I got it.
but because
I
for
understood.
me it's protection.
Hmm.
Because I used to just, I mean, as tall as I am, as big as I am, whatever word you want to use to describe me, I would let people run over me. And that's not okay either. And
Right.
so now, if you can't give me what I know I need at 51, almost 52, because it's about to be 2025, then okay, hands off. And I go on about to the next person. There's always somebody that's interested. I might not be interested in them, but you know what I'm saying? There's somebody
Mhm.
and somewhere out there is going to be the person that God has for me. And so I'm not giving in no more. I'm not waiting for you to come around. If you want, most guys know it immediately. They know what they want. So if I'm not what you want and you're not willing to put in your time, right? And I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
Even if it hurts. But it took me a long time.
To
I
get
want to say 51 years. The book's been out for 2 years, and I still feel like, dang, you ain't learned a lesson. You wrote about this, and you still doing some stupid stuff, Lisa. Do you have the book, Tracy? Can you hold it up for a second? She's like, what? And I don't know if y'all can see it's a broken heart, y'all, because it also talks about overcoming, oh my gosh, pain and finding strength and healing, overcoming pain and heartache and finding strength and healing. And so that's our hope when we write the book. Okay, Vanna. She's so good at it. But just even when you think about it now, hearing this term, what do you think would have been different with some of the stories that we told in the book? Tracy, it's cracking me up.
I, God, it doesn't even feel like it's been. I don't even know who it's. I just feel so different 2 years out from the book,
Uh-huh.
and where I was, the place that I was in when we were writing. I am so not her now. There are parts of her that are still here and still healing, but I am so like, how did you? I don't know how I survived, and it's just God's grace.
Exactly.
God's grace. I'm
Exactly.
telling you, and like, we have these conversations where we talk often, and I say, well, for God's grace that we did not lose our minds. There are some people that go on some trips and
Don't
go
return.
through some things, and their mind is never right again.
Mhm.
Well, for God's grace, we're still here and able to tell about it, and to be able to be candid and to share, so that
Mhm.
somebody else can maybe hear something, and maybe that would spark them to go on their healing journey.
Mhm.
I am so in awe when I read some of the stuff. Like you asked me about something, and I was like, I ain't even bother to put that anywhere in the book. But and then some of them I had to go back and remember what I remember the names, I remember the things that happened, but I couldn't remember all of the little nicknames. And I was like, what was his nickname?
Right. I asked you about one the other day, and she was like, "Oh,
Like, I don't even know. But some of them now I need to come up with. I need to rename them.
yeah." I mean, and I told them, I tell people all the time, y'all should thank this woman right here for not having your name in the book. Because if it had not been for Tracy and Worley, your name, Jimmy Bob,
Being
Paul,
litigation.
I was telling it all. It was going to be a tell all. It was a truthful one. I called the lawyer to find out what I could say, what I couldn't say. And they were like, they could sue you for defamation. And I was like, I don't care because it's true. And then she was like, I'm going to use nicknames. And I was like, you know what? That might be a smarter thing to do.
Gut instinct. That's his name.
Oh, okay. All right.
Who called for a Thanksgiving plate?
Yes, got it, got it, got it. Thank you, because I did want to know that. So I don't know if I told you this is your first time meeting, but Erica had some really great things. I shared with you what she said, but this is your opportunity to tell Tracy like how you felt about the book. Plus, I love to hear it.
Yeah, I shared with Lisa. I love the book. You all did a great job on the book. What I was impressed most with was the questions in the back. Because, being married now, I mean, I just looked at it from the lens of where was this book when I needed it, right? Because I think that we know you got to get to know people. We know you got to ask questions, but just someone really putting it out there for people, this is really what you should do. This is kind of how you should do it. Not an exhaustive list, but a great list to get you going, get you started. Some questions you might not have thought of. And so I share with Lisa specifically that, like, my single girlfriends, y'all got to read this book. Like, y'all got to read this book. My young daughters and their peers, y'all really need to read a book like this, y'all, And so kudos to you ladies, great job. And I know that it, unfortunately, again, you got your heartbreak on the front cover because it represents what a lot of this meant for you all. Yeah. But, I mean, your heartbreak may just help someone else, right, to not have a heartbreak or to get through a heartbreak, just in the way that you shared, all that you've experienced and gone through. So really great book. And just the fact that you had it in you and you put it out there, like, that's just awesome. So kudos to you ladies.
That was the scariest part, and most of us, we're in the word, in church, grown up in church. I've been in my same church all my life. And so when you put your life out there, and we tried to keep things as nicely rated as we could.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It was tough, but at the same time, looking outside of yourself and looking beyond yourself to say, who can I help? Because while I'm in the midst of this, I'm hurting.
Yeah.
I don't know now. I feel so good now that there are times when I actually ask God, and I've asked, I'm like, am I really okay? Am I really okay? Or is this some sort of like, am I just feeling twilight or something? But I actually feel good. And I'm like, I'm just grateful to be able to be on this side and to have turned this page and to get to the place where I can look back and say, okay, I've learned something. I might not have all of the answers to everything. I still don't know why everything happened the way that it did, but I learned a whole lot about myself. And now I would like to think that I'm going to do things differently the next go around. So I just came back from Ghana, and
nice.
Of all of the places in the world, I would have never thought that I would meet someone on my trip, but across the water. And Lisa's always saying, you ain't gonna meet nobody in the house. And I would always say, it might be the UPS man or the FedEx man. I didn't meet them either. They just come and go. But so I'm, what I find myself doing is making sure that I don't, and it's not about playing games, but it's very much about allowing someone that's interested to pursue you. And because of my insecurities in the past, I'm a caller, I'm a texter. I have to make sure you're all right. I have
Mm-hmm.
to make sure if I don't hear from you, I gotta check the pulse to make sure everything is still going. I gotta tap and keep. And now I'm just different. It's just different now, and I'm just laying back,
Yeah.
and I'm like, it's very different now to watch someone pursue you, and because I'll let them pursue in the very beginning, then I just take over and lose my mind, and then it's like, okay, here I am, I'm available, and I think that
Mm-hmm.
sends a different energy um, to people. It puts a different energy out there. So I'm learning to just kind of lay back and chill and do some things differently from what I've done in the past, and that anxiousness. The insecurities and all of those little things. Oh, I haven't talked to him in 12 hours. Something must be wrong, all of that. I'm like, okay, God, because I often say, I don't know what this is. I wasn't expecting this, but whatever this is, God, maybe it was just for me to see that somebody else could see me. And so
Mm-hmm.
I'm thankful for that. I'm thankful for, the friendship. I'm grateful for the communication. And it's different. But I'm definitely trying to walk in um, all of the tools, using those tools that we've learned and acquired over the past few years.
Yeah. Is there a specific like question? Because even when I wrote the book, like, and I've definitely dated since then, I didn't always ask my own questions. And I'm like, Lisa, what's wrong with you? Like, we made sure we like fine comb tooth that thing to make sure we were asking as many starter questions as possible. So, like, is there anything? And even for you, Erica, even as a married person, like, I appreciate the fact that you didn't count it robbery to like read some
Oh
single
yeah.
book. Because a lot of people feel like you have to go through X, Y, and Z. I've counseled enough married couples to know what I don't want to do. And then some of the things that I do want to do. But was there any question or any topic or theme that stood out the most to either of y'all? you're
I'm laughing because I know one of the first things that I did this time, because I didn't do it the last few times. I
uh
wasn't clear enough. The first thing I said when I noticed, okay, there's interest. Okay, well, let's get this out of the way. Do you have a wife? Do you have a girlfriend? Do you have an intimate partner? Do you have two wives? Do you have a girlfriend and a wife? I just need to know. I
Mm-hmm.
just want you to be very clear that I'm just asking you now because we're just cool right now. Nothing. You don't have to lie to me now. And I got,
Yeah.
I got the answer. But in the very beginning, with other relationships, had I done that, I could have saved myself. It could have been a different type of friendship, you know. And I could have kept my, what they say, guard your heart. I could have done a much better job.
Yep, ask questions. That's one of the main things. So when we went through the process of doing the book, we were very specific. Like the way that God gave it to me, like I didn't put
Mm-hmm.
it. I guess I was harsh then too, but it was for a purpose, and I deliver it how He gave it to me. Maybe not in the same tone always, but it was like what it were your emotions and like what are you feeling, and then what are you doing or thinking, because
Mm.
your feelings and your thoughts are two different things, and that was
Yes.
really hard for some of us because they're so used to it being one and the same. And I've learned that a lot of people, and I've learned that as a counselor, they don't know how to express their feelings. They might say their thoughts, but an emotion, a feeling, it's more than just angry, sad, happy. You know what I'm saying? And so um we really had to ask ourselves that. And then I was like, you gotta ask questions. You gotta ask questions in the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
Cool to know that you used your own book advice and was clear, about that. That's cool. I think that's important. I think also as I'm older, a lot of a lot more people are starting to take care of their in-laws and
Mm-hmm.
having to bring them into the home. Like, I need to know how you feel about that. Or if that's something you're doing now, is this something that you plan on doing always? Is this just temporary? Because I mean, I might not be a bunny rabbit, but I might be a bunny or a rabbit when I get married. It might be both, or it might be one or the other. And it makes it a little hard when you got, you know what I'm saying? your elderly parents that are there. But I mean,
Hmm.
probably won't not be quiet. That's just me. But you know what I'm saying? I rather not be because it was plenty of times where I had to be when I shouldn't have been doing what I was doing. So
Yeah,
now it's
they're from get they.
huh,
I
what you
don't
say?
want, I don't want to misspeak, but they might not be able to hear that well anyhow. I mean,
They might not, but then
at a
again, they
certain point,
might.
at a certain
So I
point,
just want to be free. I call it, when it's time for guilt free sex, I want it to be whatever I want it to be.
those
And
are things that and that is a part in there about caregiving.
yeah.
There, those are real things, and I
Mhm.
I just look at how quickly life can change and things can happen.
Mhm.
My cousin just got married last year, and her dad passed away, and then my aunt moved in with her, she and her husband, and it's just been a little bit over a year, and then I just lost my aunt just recently. But it was different to go from your newlyweds, and but my mom is here at the same time, and it
Mhm.
changes the whole
Wanna have
dynamic of how
balance.
your house
Mhm.
or how your household works. And that's, when you take those vows and you say for better or for worse, a lot of times, you see young people standing up there before, the preacher and in front of everybody. You're not thinking about something could happen. And then
Mhm.
now
That's all
you
said.
have to
Right.
take care of a parent. So yeah,
Yeah.
those are really things to throw
Yeah.
in there and talk about, what does that look like?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And I'm joking when I say that. I'm not saying that I wouldn't marry anybody that had to take care of parent. That's not what I'm saying, but it's definitely a conversation that we're having.
Lord, if I'm gonna wait and I'm gonna have to wait, Lord, please make it.
Absolutely. It's again, where was this book?
Is it
2020.
any
So
one part that you would have asked yourself that you thought about, like when you read, you were like, "Dang!" Like it was any specific question or theme?
I can't remember, and I didn't bring it with me. My book is
That's
upstairs.
fine.
I can't remember at the time the questions, but I just remember looking at them questions and thinking, "Wow, yeah, wow, that's because some of them were just more in depth, than I feel like I had done in the whole get to know you
Mhm.
kind of phase, and they were just very intentional questions, and that's what you need going into a marriage. So Tracy, I have 4 children. They're young adults at this point, but my older son made a comment not too far back, about marriage being just more like a business deal kind of thing,
Mm,
in the sense that he's saying, when you pair up with someone, you want to make sure y'all are financially compatible and things of that nature. This generation, I think, and I'm just basing it on me having children in this generation. This generation looks at marriage totally different
yeah.
than our generation, our parents' generate. Obviously, right? The times have changed in that sense. So they're looking at things that I didn't think about, but
Yeah.
they're important things to think about. You
Yeah.
know,
Yeah. That's wow. That's, yeah. I talk about in the book how when I was younger, how I used to get Bride magazine. I would do flowers for weddings. I probably owned, I think I counted at one point more than 12 dresses, where either I was a bridesmaid or I was a maid of honor. It was a maid of honor a month apart for my cousin and my best friend, in 95. And that was hard, because it was bridal showers, bachelorette parties. It was all of that. But those were the things that I just absolutely, at a very early age, I loved. I had this Disney picture in my mind of what my wedding was going to be like, because I was so fixated on loving love, and just very early on, but not looking at what is it really like to live with somebody else and to coexist with somebody else. And I tell people, it's enough. I have a hard time sometimes just dealing with me, sitting in here with me sometimes, and things that I don't want to do, and making myself do things that I don't want to do, and taking care of stuff that I have to take care of. So when you couple that up with another person that has their own will and all of that, that's a whole another dynamic. So yeah, I'm at 51. I have really asked myself what I want to be married now. Now, of course, legally, when we talk about intimacy and all of that, I believe that God designed us in a way that, we need intimacy. We need, we're supposed to be relational beings. But of course, if we want to be legal, yeah, then we need to be married. But at 51, I'm sitting here, and that's where the but comes in for me, and not an and. I'm really looking at how much I would really stand to lose if I am not open and really listening to God when that person comes into my life, because I want to make sure that it is the right person and that I'm not sitting somewhere 2 years from now. I mean, because you just never know. I mean, you never know how things can turn out, and making sure that, we're absolutely sure that this is what we want to do, because when I do it, I want us to, I want you to be in it for the long haul and to the dirt. One of us is the dirt.
Absolutely. That right there is scary too. That's a whole nother topic because
Yeah.
I'm like, dang, so many people are dying like quicker or sooner. And I'm like, God, I ain't wait like 50,000 years just to like only be married for 6 months. Cause, and then the guys that don't take care of themselves, like they'll never go to the doctor to do any type of updates or like, I mean, checkups or nothing. I'm just like, but you got a family. Even if you don't want to do it for you, but you should do it for you, then do it for the people that you say you love.
Right.
But anyway, I digress.
I'm
So
about
I
to say
just
that's
want,
a whole nother show.
I know it is. It absolutely is. um, maybe that'll be the next one. I'm not sure. So two different things. Wanted to just reread what it says that we need to maybe think about if we are going to have more dialectic relationships. And that first thing is what is true about what I'm feeling, or why does this feeling make sense? Um, I do ask that to myself. Do y'all ask that to yourself in general?
What
Oh,
is true about what I'm feeling, or why does this make sense?
Why does this feeling make sense? So
Why
if
does
you're angry, why do I feel angry? If you're happy,
mhm.
why do I feel happy? If you're perplexed,
I don't know that I necessarily ask myself that, but I mean, I definitely do think about why I feel what I feel.
mhm,
But then I give myself the answer. Well, I feel the way that I feel because X, Y, and Z. Like,
okay.
I'm angry because this happened or that didn't happen or whatever. So I don't know if I'm doing that the right way,
Well, I mean, let's
dialectically
still ask this.
speaking.
So then, what is true about the other side, or what am I leaving out? Do you only look at it one sided, or do you ask yourself really like the possibilities why the other person might be doing whatever they're doing or saying whatever they're saying?
It will probably be said of me that I only look at it from my perspective. But I do think that I do try to see the other side of things.
Okay.
I think that I do try. Not saying I land on it.
I think that I think that I think I do.
That I do.
I think the hardest time is when somebody hurts you. I've shared like things that have happened in my family. Um, I can't understand why a relative would hit me. Uh, it took everything in me not to hit them back, but that's not how I was raised. Um, but I did think about why they might want to do that. So I do ask like the other side. Um, yep. And then replace the but with "and." So those 3 things, do you think y'all can do that? Maybe in the next situation that arises? Like, really look at it from your perspective, look at it from the other side, or what am I leaving out? And sometimes that really means challenging yourself and having a conversation with the ones that bothered us or hurt us, and we didn't want to actually have it, and then saying "and" instead of "but."
Something to consider.
Yeah,
Because I'm always making up reasons why, like in my mind, I'm always trying to figure out, well, maybe.
right. But it's so much easier if we just
When
ask,
you,
even though it's
when
not
you,
easy to
when you
ask, but it's so much
can't
easier.
always ask,
Yeah,
sometimes you can't
sometimes you
always ask.
Yep. I mean, I
Mm.
have some people who are deceased that I would love to ask some questions to, but which is why it's so important to do it while we think we have time. I think a lot of people think that we have time and we'll be able to go back. People, things are happening. I've shared with you how I lost $2 in pretty much a week and a half period.
I'm
And
sorry.
I remember things like what I was saying to them, um, or when I last spoke to them. And you know what I'm saying? It's just it's a shame. That's all I could say. It's a shame, and it's just really sad. And as much as I might feel what I feel, I can't even imagine what their parents feel. Um, so we don't have time, even though we say we do. Life is so precious. And so, if nothing else, in whatever type of situation it is, or relationship, or whatever type of ship, I hope that you all, our listeners slash watchers, viewers, will go through the process and maybe have more dialectic relationships. Change that but to and try to understand people more. Get down to the deep part of communication, as Tracy called it. Would you all like to say anything before we leave?
Well, I just hope that those listening, if they haven't read your book, go back and read your book so that they can see those questions at the end and then kind of apply it to this concept and this thought of this dialectical thinking when it comes to relationships. I would encourage that is what I would say. Like I think it would benefit.
Yeah, I think that that would be great. Yeah, what about you, Tracy?
I just want to take an opportunity to say thank you to all of the readers, all of the individuals who have supported our book and just encouraged us along the way. Hopefully, um, for 2025, we will have some speaking engagements where we'll be able to get out and talk a little bit more with people in person and just getting out there. Of course, we wrote the book during the pandemic. Um, and so that was interesting enough in itself, and just being really fearful about getting out and, communicate. But now I think it's time for us. We'll get out and
That is
mingle, mingle with everybody, and just thank you. We're very grateful for
absolutely.
the opportunity to be able to share. And shout out to Journal Joy Publishing.
Yes, that's what I meant to say earlier, but I forgot. Yes, that's our publisher. Great job. And thank you, Ashley Lockley,
Mm,
for referring
yes,
us
girl.
to Joy
Yes.
Publishing. So I don't have the Ingram Spark direct link, but you can go to my website. You can see here. You can connect with me at One Singing Lady. All those platforms and Facebook, you might have to put my whole name. But if you go to my website, it's on yours too, Tracy.
Yes.
Okay, can you say yours, please? Your website.
Mine is by tracym.com.
And so hit one of our websites and visit, and you can see the links for the book. And also, yes, for that book right there. And then, this Random But Real podcast, you can listen to them on Amazon, Apple, iHeart Radio, Podvine, Spotify, and YouTube. I do believe in the next season. So we're going a little bit longer this year. I normally do like 8 to 10. I think we're at least going to do 12. We might even do more. And then we're going to take a break. So we'll talk about that. But maybe next season we can go back to streaming live. I do kind of miss that. It was interesting. As much as I don't necessarily like to be on screen, it was even more random but real because whatever happened happened for real. Because so but we got to interact with people in real time, and I did like that part. So we may have to do that soon, but for now, this is us. And I hope that everybody will share this with other people, really, because we need your help to get the word out. um Building something where you're trying to give information, a platform where you're trying to get information, isn't an easy thing. And so I never started doing this for the money. But that doesn't hurt either. I'm not gonna lie. However,
Mhm.
I really wanted to share like the things that I learned with other people. And so they were listening. So I was just like, let's just do a podcast. And I'm grateful that Erica, jumped on board because I don't really like talking to myself, just me and the camera. So it makes it a lot more interesting. So I appreciate both of you. Tracy, thanks for joining us and sharing a
Yes,
little bit more
thank
about
you.
21 days. You can join us again anytime. Hey, Erica, thank you as always
Thank
for
you.
being on here. So, y'all, this is the end of our podcast. One singing lady out.
Erica out.
Bye.